So it's day 8, I think. It's currently 2:30, almost 2:30 p.m. I'm. It's a fit check. Come on, I'm wearing a lab coat. There we go. Feeling like Oppenheimer. Anyways, there was a scene where he wore a coat, not a white coat, but anyways. Let's get into it. I left off at okay. But Mr. Manager, called Gregor, beside himself, in this agitation forgetting everything else. I'm opening the door immediately, this very moment. A slight indisposition, a dizzy spell has prevented me from getting up. I'm still laying on the bed right now, but now I'm quite refreshed once again, and I'm in the midst of I'm in the midst of getting out of bed. Just have patience for a short moment. Things are not going so well as I thought, but things are all right. How suddenly this can overcome someone? How suddenly this can overcome someone? Just yesterday evening everything was fine with me. My parents certainly know that. People must have seen that in me. Why have I not reported that to the office? But people always think that they'll get over sickness without having to stay at home. Mr. Manager, take it easy on my parents. This is really no basis for the criticisms which you are now making against me. And really, nobody has said a word to me about that. Perhaps you have not read the latest orders which I shipped. Besides, now I'm setting out on my trip on the 8 o'clock train. Why is it so hard to talk? Okay, I'll just follow the lines. The few hours rest out of my trip, a few hours rest have made me stronger. Mr. Manager, do not stay. I will be at the office in person right away. Please have the goodness to say that and to convey my respects to the chief. While Gregor was quickly blurting all this out hardly aware of what he was saying, he had moved closer to the chest of drawers without effort, probably as a result of the practice he had already had in bed. Now he was trying to raise himself up upon it. I talk like this, right? Okay, I talk like this. Actually, he wanted to open the door. He really wanted to let himself be seen by and to speak with the manager. He was keen to witness what the others now asking after him would say at this sight of him. They were startled. Then Gregor had no more responsibility and could be calm. But if they accepted everything quietly, then he would have no reason to get excited. And if he got to move on, could really be the station around 8 o'clock. It's quite hard, man. I don't know why reading is hard for me. Anyways, it's improving. The whole point of this thing is improve my English and not like. Of course, the point is to win the actual competition, not competition, but the thingy, UN and UN. But it's also to improve my skills in English. So I'm learning. Stay consistent and persevere. At first, he slid down a few times in the smooth chest drawers. But at last he gave himself a final swing and stood upright. He was no longer all aware. He was no longer at all aware of the pains in his lower body. No longer how they might still sting. Now he let himself fall against the back of the nearby chair, on the edge of which he braced himself with his thin limbs. By doing this, he gained control over himself and kept quiet, for he could now hear the manager. Did you understand a single word? The manager asked the parents. Is he playing the fool with us? For God's sake, cried his mother, already in tears. Perhaps he is very sick and we're upsetting him. Grete, she yelled at the point. She yelled at that point. Yelled at the point. Mother, called the sister from the other side. They were making themselves understood through Gregor's room. You must go to the doctor right away. Gregor is sick. Hurry to the doctor. Have you heard Gregor speak yet? That was an animal's voice, said the manager, remarkably quiet in the comparison of his mom. Remarkably quiet in comparison to the mother's cries. Anna, yelled the father through the hall into the kitchen, clapping his hands. Fetch a locksmith right away. The two young women were already running through the hall with swishing skirts. How had his sister dressed herself so quickly, and yanked open the doors of the apartment? One couldn't hear the doors closing at all. They probably had left them open, as is customary in this apartment in which huge misfortune has taken place. However, Gregor had become much calmer. All right, people did not understand his words anymore. Although they seemed clear enough to him, clearer than previously, perhaps because his ears had gotten used to them. But at least people now thought that things were not all right with him, and were prepared to help him. The confidence and assurance with which the first arrangements had been carried out made him feel good. He felt himself included once again in the circle of humanity, and was expecting from both the doctor and the locksmith. Without differentiating between them with any real precision, splendid and surprising results. In order to get a clear voice as possible for the critical conversation, which was imminent, he coughed a little, and suddenly took a trouble to do this, in a really subdued way. Since it was possible that much